Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be showing off the brand new Sanctified Angelic boosted Hammerdin build for Diablo 3 in Season 27. So starting right out, let's go ahead and go over the effect. This is not going to be necessarily a build guide, but it's more so feedback and kind of showcasing off the gameplay. So starting right off with the new Sanctified power. What does it do? Because previously I've mentioned that it didn't really seem like it's working correctly. I guess there were some bugs with it, but we're looking at the first line of orange text in the secondary of the new Sanctified flail here. So its blessed hammer now crackles with energy, damaging enemies within 12 yards of its path. All runes but Dominion now throw the hammer in a direct path in front of the Crusader. So how this works, and you guys are seeing it in the gameplay, the hammer will come out, it's going to deal that crackling energy, then it's also going to return. So it's almost like a boomerang. I guess I'm going to be calling this the Boomerang Crusader because that's kind of what it does. Except for if you do run the other rune, it will spin like a normal Hammerdin. Now in terms of the build, is it actually good? Now I've been trying to play this, and I was always a fan of the Hammerdin, so I was really excited to get my hands on this power now that they have buffed it. Now it still feels like it's a little bit weak, just as a heads up. In terms of what I've actually done with the build, we are currently in the top 10. Now a lot of people in the top 10 are not actually running this power. What they're doing is running the angels. I think that there's some sort of weird shenanigans going on with the angels right now. I've talked about it before, but basically you can summon them and they will obliterate things. They've actually changed the cooldown, they've lowered the damage on them, but I still think the damage is really, really high. So what's kind of interesting is, even if you want to play a Hammerdin, a lot of builds aren't even running the brand new Sanctified power. So if you guys are interested in building this for Season 27, just keep in mind, as right now on the PTR, it's a little bit weak, it's a little bit squishy, and on top of that, if you want to push with this, it is technically kind of possible in terms of running it, but most of the people in the top 10, they're not running it anyways. But you could throw in a convention of elements, you can throw in a strong arms, but basically, just in case anyone did want the build for this video, I'll make a more in-depth guide after the PTR because I think that would make the most sense. Unless, of course, there is going to be some huge change to it. I would say it's kind of an underwhelming build, at least as of right now. Going over some of the stuff that I was running, here's what I was running in the gameplay. You can run strong arms if you want to. You can also run different gems if you want to. I think Go Swiftness is just really good because the build is definitely squishy. This is a build where it's struggling at what I would consider a GR 100-ish, and this is fully augmented gear at plus 500 on every single piece of stat. Everything's obviously all ancient at that point, but for this build, I would say if you do like Hammerdin, you could do T16s. I have some gameplay of T16s which were just kind of blasting, going a lot faster. I think the build is overall kind of slow for T16s, but who am I to say, play what you enjoy, right? And I think that most people will probably be more interested in the Bombardment Satyr, or if you really just want to summon those angels, you can rotate in between your friends, activating them, and it could actually be pretty powerful. But in terms of the greatest push build, unfortunately Hammerdins aren't going to be the wave, I would say. Speaking of that, Wave of Light Monk is actually pretty dang powerful still. So here's my review of the Crusader in its current state. I think that we need some sort of a buff. The buff would be really excellent in the department of the Falling Sword. So if you guys don't know how it works, you're seeing under my bar right above where the skill bar is, but right below the little paragon point thing. When we activate Falling Sword, what it's going to do is increase the damage of our blessed hammers. Now this stacks up to 10 times. What happens is on the Rift Guardians, it can be a little bit more difficult, or if you just happen to hit Elite Pack and there's just 3 monsters, you basically have to go to another area, use your Falling Sword, then come back and hit the other targets. Otherwise, you're not going to do that much damage. If you're doing T16, it's fine, but again, if you're just looking at GR 100, even if I was to throw Convention of Elements in here, it's still going to struggle compared to the other builds in the game that we have gotten. So I think for the Sanctified Angelic power, we need some sort of boost to it. It doesn't feel like it's the super insanely powerful thing, which I feel like it should be the most powerful thing. And looking on the leaderboards, if we see that the Blessed Hammer, the Seekers of the Light build, isn't even playing this to min-max, yeah, I think that could be something that could be addressed. But anyways, that's my feedback and thoughts on the Crusader. I'm curious to know if you guys have played it. What would you you guys change? I would personally change it so Falling Sword gets all of the buffs, and on top of that, bigger multiplier or whatever percent like damage that it's doing with this crackling energy. It just doesn't feel nearly as powerful, I think, as it should. But anyways, that's my thoughts. You guys can let me know yours down below. If you guys are brand new here and do want to see more Diablo videos in the future, and as I will cover Crusader, I just really like the Hammerdin D2, but it's not the same. It'd be even cooler if they maybe added like a concentration aura that you would get to not only yourself and allies. It could be the same animation as maybe some of the different laws, and it would just be always active. That would be cool as well. Something along the lines of just adding some more power to it, maybe even really short cooldown, and having Falling Sword just keep on stacking versus it like basically draining out. But I know in terms of like the way that it's designed, it's supposed to go ahead and actually hit, and you're supposed to reactivate it time and time again. But nonetheless, that's my feedback. And if you guys do want to see more builds in the future, and if this build gets updated, I'll let you guys know in the future. But subscribe, turn on the bell if you want to see more, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care, and I'm out. Peace.